Expatriate pays in Naira.
Expatriate, it is not the expatriates that pay. That was what I was explaining. It's the company here.
It doesn't matter whether you pay for me or I
what they pay in dollars is separate.
That is my question.
Yeah.
That is my question.
So that is the question. What was your answer to that?
Fine.
I explained it.
No, you didn't.
No, it's to him or when he's free to do that. But the point being made by distinguished Senator Jibrin, for me, this is the answer you should have provided. If I transfer money from my bank account to pay for a service, the fact that I didn't write receipt, I transfer doesn't mean I will not obtain receipt. Right? Evidence that I have paid. So, both the first explanation of the PAMSEC and your explanation about E is not returning for evidence of payment. Otherwise, we'll be dealing with invisible transfers, and I don't think that is your intention. So I think you are right. The ministry needs to provide this evidence, because if we are going to talk about budget, it's only to the extent that we have revenue that have been generated. Otherwise, the budget will not perform. So, but this is just my comment on this, but there are other questions that have been put, including some question we need a substantive answer. And I saw, I think for the first time.
So much, Your Excellency. Let me, that I forgot the other, I will answer this, then I forgot the question that this week's Senator Issa raised before he left. I just remembered. On issue of stamp duty, I'm not responsible for that, with due respect. It's an inland revenue, it's deducted at source, just like tax. It's not my responsibility as Interior. It's a centralized. Yes, that then to most distinguished question. The stakeholders' engagement, sensitization, enlightenment, this is a project that has not been done. Because part of what the reason for this is that we understood the fact that when I became Minister of Interior, when I was appointed, we did an analysis and we saw that we're doing more of kinetic solutions and there was need for a lot of non-kinetic solutions. I had to engage about 2 former chairmen, Senate chairmen on Interior, and they gave me lowdown of investigation over the last 8 years with regards to what the National Assembly had done. And that's what led to this. And what we did was to write to all governors. We've already written to them. We're looking at, because we realized that internal security issues are usually, number one, right of way, which is issue of farmer headers issue. We realized that we looked at issue of communal differences based on land and border, boundaries. We looked at that. We also looked at issue of segregation, anarchists, that mean people who are fighting for segregation and some reasons. And the fourth one we looked at was, of course, issue that had to deal with economic terrorism. That's people doing kidnapping and whatever. So we looked at some of these things and we decided that it's important that we start from the one that is most intrinsic. And that's obviously the communal, the issue that has to do with land boundaries, borders, and etc. That also has to do with religious reasons. And so we decided to come up with that. And this was part of the proposal that we defended in 2023, during the 2024 budget session. But as we said, this project has not even been, because it's not a project that federal government alone should do. It's something that has to involve the states. It's something that has to go to the local government and not a talk show. So that's that about that. Then on the issue of purchase of teaching and learning aid equipment, I think that is just statutory. I didn't put that. I think in almost every ministry, every agency, it's like a line item that comes from the budget office.
All right, thank you very much. Do you collect business expatriate quota in Naira or in foreign currency?
Naira.
Naira.
It's in Naira.
Expatriate pays in Naira.
Expatriate, it is not the expatriates that pay. That was what I was explaining. It's the company here.
It doesn't matter whether you pay for me or I
what they pay in dollars is separate.
That is my question.
Yeah.
That is my question.
So that is the question. What was your answer to that?
Fine.
I explained it.
No, you didn't.
No, you didn't explain that.
Explain to us.
There's nowhere in your figure said that we see
Where is that
any
money?
expression
What
of
quota comes to?
foreign currency. No, what the point has been made, just listen to his answer.
Mr. Chairman, may I address you, please? Thank you. I explained that expatriate quota and business permit is within the purview of ministry as a ministry. There's a department called C&B, Citizenship and Business, that deals with that. And I explained that when people want to, at the beginning, when you need expatriate, a company like Dangote can come. For instance, I'm using him as an example. I'm using the company as an example to say, okay, I need 1,000 expatriates. The Dangote applies to the Ministry of Interior. Once he applies, he already has a business permit anyway. Then he will now request for this bulk quota, like a lump sum. If he will now justify and now say that this 1,000, I need engineer 2, mechanical this. Please, can you, please, Honorable, let's speak, please, calm down. The issue of setback is not Your Excellency, 1 point, please, 1 point. I raised it very clear, and that's why I said the issue of setback, it is not within the purview of the ministry. It's
Off your mind. We have immunity in the National Assembly. It's the only privilege we have.
But when you get to
when you are subjected to this rigorous test, it is to live up to the standard that you have to establish. When you are in the House of Rep. So what do you do, people? They must do up to you. And they don't know.
we are comrades, sir.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I think you have to have capacity to absorb all the punches, and there will be more punches. But they will go to your agencies because you are supervising many. But let me just ask this. You know, this is a question that should be for immigration. But because you are the supervisory minister, and like you said, people apply to you anyway, maybe the processing immigration or whatever. The truth of the matter is, your explanation on the increase in quota, I have personal concerns. No country in the world, not America, not China, not Europe, that allow all manners of people to come under all kind of guises, and they are giving visas or green card, whatever it is, passport, to reside in the country. When, maybe over the weekend when you are not at work, just visit some of the commercial centers in Abuja, and you will find expatriates selling chairs, selling tables. You will find expatriates selling bread, making bakeries. I don't want to measure their nationality, so I mean, I have to be a bit diplomatic. But there are clearly jobs that Nigerians can't do, jobs that Nigerians have been doing that have now been relaxed and transferred back. All the gains of indigenization, Nigerianization. As a union leader, I fought many employers when they seek to import expatriates to do jobs that Nigerians can do. And as it stands, somebody said it from brass. If you check the document seriously, you will find technicians from foreign countries coming here as engineers, while our own engineers are working in foreign restaurants in Europe and elsewhere. You are too generous in issuing permit for expatriates to do jobs that Nigerians can do. I raised this matter even when Ngige was Minister of Labor, but I realized that it was not, it is the Ministry of Interior. And I work, when Nigeria had a manufacturing sector, I work in that sector. But even today, those jobs that have been exclusively reserved for Nigerians are today being carried out by foreigners. I see foreigners managing supermarkets, small stores. As nobody can tell me that Nigerians cannot be a sales manager in a small company. And I'm not talking of a big scale business. And you see this expatriate, again, I don't want to measure they tend to come from a particular part of the world. So I think you need to review that. Because since the economy is not creating the number of jobs that we need to cope with the population growth rate, we do need to ensure that the jobs that are available are not taken over. It is right to encourage foreign investors. It is even right to accept to borrow money from foreign countries, but not to lend and allow them to take over our territory. I see expatriates who sleep in containers. I see expatriates working in where they produce. I come from Edo North, and you find them working in granite. Things that Nigerians have been doing. That is not really mining. This is granite we use for road construction, for civil engineering, construction, etc., etc. So obviously, quarries. That is the correct word. These are jobs that Nigerians can do. And if you keep licensing foreigners to do it, you are actually compounding the unemployment situation of skilled Nigerians. I want you to speak to that. And at a point, I was saying to somebody that we may have to commission a consultant, just Abuja here. I will have a conversation with you as to the definition of what a Nigeria can do and what your honest judgment in Nigeria cannot do. And let's just do a test case of Abuja capital territory. By the time you go to Lagos and go to Chinatown, the picture might even be much more confounding. And recently, I am sure distinguished senators, honorable members, you will have read the newspapers about people from, after they measure our name, we too can measure their names. Chinese people being arrested by EFCC for Yahoo activities. Those ones came here with your permit. You have expatriate quota for Yahoo players. So I think these are issues we must take much more seriously. We mustn't allow one expatriate that has no business here to be here. He can visit as a tourist, but like every tourist, you go back at the expiration of your tourism. I am particularly, if you understand my background, when it comes to job creation and transfers of unemployment to Nigeria, I am a fanatic. I think your ministry can do a lot more. You should be less generous. You should carry out more interrogation about the kind of job people are doing. When I go around many places, the people I see, if you go to Kano, you will find Chinese working, doing bakery work. Small stores. No, that cannot be. Because they don't allow Nigerians to go to their country to do those things, even though we have very cordial relationship with them. So I'd like to have your comment on it, and it's something that I think you need to, as a Nigerian, we all have a duty to secure those jobs for Nigerian young people, and even the not so young.
Let me say this, that there is nothing to hide, and I was talking about a process. And if honorable member had waited for me to land, probably the agitation would have been quenched. The key issue is I told you the way the procedure, the workflow. After the expatriate quota and everything is taken by the ministry, then the immigration issues the SEPAC card, not the ministry. That's what I'm saying. And payment is made to government account online, which is charged in dollars, but in naira. You spend in naira at prevailing CBN rate, online conversion, the CBN rate. That's the way the system works. So the money goes to government account, but by NIS, not by the ministry. So what is a part of the revenue profile? And when you look at the defense section of NIS, you will see SEPAC as part of their revenue profile. I will not go and appropriate the revenue of NIS as a ministry source of funding. That is not the principle of appropriation. That was not what we were taught in this chamber. And I will not pretend over such an activity. So it is when it comes to NIS funding, what they call budget, you look at the profile there, SEPAC is there. It's just like you're asking me, why is passport not in my profile? I cannot put passport. I don't issue passport.
It's clear.
Then on your question on what you raised, Your Excellency, let me say this. And as I said, I want to plead that one of these days when Your Excellency is free, there's a lot to really talk about, not in an executive session. But in an executive session. that has to, because I'm being very choosy and I'm being very picky in terms of information that I drop. We cannot solve, you see, we can't solve national security. We can't solve the problem of unemployment. We cannot solve the problem of even deprivations if we do not solve the problem of migration management, which is immigration. And these are not issues that we'll talk about in public. When we speak about these people, the problem is oftentimes we try to solve compound problems by solving them in silos. We cannot provide a solution in silo to a compound problem. 90%, I want to tell you, sir, a lot of the people that you spoke about, they do not have permits. A lot of them do not even have this document. And that is the essence of the automation process that we are doing. Because I'll give you an example. When you go to Singapore, when you go to any country in the world, the effective border control management is the basis of the basis of your whole migration management. I'll give you an example. When somebody is coming into Nigeria, it's part of the solution we are deploying now, free of charge. I mean, it's not government funded. We're doing it. When somebody is coming into Nigeria, how do you even confirm and ensure that the person is not even coming through a fake visa? Something as simple as that. That's number one. Number two, we inherited a system. We inherited a system whereby we had two visa regimes. I don't know of any country that runs dual visa regimes. There is, the manual and the auto, the bow visa here and there. So even when you go to a country, just like our passport, it's now that we now have just one series now, starting from this January. It's what we've been doing over the last 80 years. And immigration, that's why Nigerians are treated with disrespect, sometimes at foreign border posts. You go into America, somebody in front of you who is a Nigerian gives a passport. The immigration officer looks at it, sees there's a Nigerian passport, he lets you go. The next person that comes, bring another type of passport, because we're having the A series and the B series, two different passport regimes for a country, when we know that passport is a symbol of sovereignty. It has to be uniform. So a lot of these things, in Nigeria when you come, a lot of people don't even fill landing card, because where else do you go to that they still give you paper landing card in this era? That is not even capturing your biometric, it's not even comparing the biometric feature to your feature that you gave in your visa application, so that to be sure that before you are boarded before any airline, because once there is a procedure and a protocol by a country, airlines are bound to obey. So you don't even leave your country if you don't pass through the right channel. So there are a lot of these automation processes. So these were things we inherited, and we have built the infrastructure, we are building on it, but I'm just talking, half and half on this. When there's an executive session, I will be able to open up the entire structure of what we are trying to do and what we have done and where we are going to. Thank you, sir.
All right. Other agencies under the minister, they are not yet before us. Those will be taken separately. And then questions related to those are better reserved until we talk to those agencies. So I think the minister has been extremely detailed. I've attended some other budget defense. I can't recall anyone where the minister has been as exhaustive as he has been to us. And I do also understand that when you are dealing with, we had a senator who was one of us. He's now more minister than a senator. So he's more about character. It's nothing to, yeah. But it goes without saying that your being in the house gives you a deeper insight into why we want to find out how you spend your budget. But I think even coming from the members, we want to congratulate you for what you've done in 2024. And you were a lot younger in 2024 than you are going to be in 2025. But I hope your energy will still be there and your experience will be much, much deeper. So now we thank you for your presentation. I believe we are satisfied with your explanation. If there are more questions, like you said, after this budget season, we can have a special session to discuss those issues with all cameras shut out. And trusting that we too will keep what is meant to be state secret as state secret. So now we go to Now, this is my last comment. The point you made earlier, I'm sure, I hope it's not lost on many of my colleagues, that if it has happened in your ministry, that quota have been awarded all these years to private sector companies, whether these are Nigerian-owned companies or they are foreign-owned, and somehow they execute the soft side, that they make money, and then they do not deliver on the other side. And it takes your intervention now to get them to carry a holistic, to implement the contract in full, which enabled you to build those facilities that I was there when the president came to commission those facilities. They look standard, they look well built, and that this money could have otherwise been lost, and public funds would have been appropriated to execute those.
692-410-481, overhead of 1,159,660.
Which
That's page 12. Page 12. Page 6. Okay. Okay, page 6, yeah. That's the summary, thank you. Yeah. Page 6 is not the summary.
This detailed copy.
Here, we're proposing what we have here is a personnel 1,692,410,461, an overhead of 1,100,000.
No, speak more to the mic.
No, the mic is on.
Yeah. Just speak to it.
Yeah, sorry, sir. For Ministry of Interior, we have personnel of 1,692,410,481, overhead of 1,159,879,666, and capital of 3,831,173,048, giving the ministry as an entity a total allocation of 6,683,463,175. Then underneath are the allocation for all the other agencies, correctional, immigration, NSCDC, the board, and the Federal Fire Service. So, which takes every. That's it. Yes, sir.
Go down, you will find Ministry of Interior headquarters. And the first line there is overhauling of electric power system establishment stroke activation. Pardon? Surplus deficit, deficit revenue over expenditure. Yeah, I mean that is just to establish the page. So any comment anybody wants to make, you can make it. On page 15.
1-5. Wait, Ikoyi upgrade of Ikoyi marriage registry. And just fourth line below that, there is another renovation and upgrade of Ikoyi marriage registry, new, 180 million. And That is my question. I think this one is ongoing, this one is new, but it's the same project title. Yes, thank you.
An ongoing thing. Exactly, because it's actually ongoing. So you cannot, exactly. So at least I'm sorry about that. Then to what Distinguished spoke about. Yes, the solutions that we spoke about, automation of the whole processes, it's basically administrative. For instance, we have a system where I'll give an example, even store, it's not automated. We have a scenario whereby if you need somebody